that's what we're talking about right now. Bucs go in to Los Angeles, and pretty emphatic win here, 40-17 over the Chargers. Bucs move to 8-6. Chargers fall to 8-6. I thought this was going to be one of the games of the week. It started out like that. Both teams trading touchdown drives. Ladd McConkey back for the Chargers, helping their pass game. And it was close early on, but man, the Bucs broke it open in the second half. It was 17-13 at the half. Bucs score a 57-yarder to Mike Evans, Baker to Evans for 57 on a little scramble drill, catch and run, and then an absolute dime from Baker Mayfield to Evans for a 35-yard touchdown. And the Bucs ran like crazy in the second half on the Chargers. Emphatic win for the NFC South leaders in Tampa Bay.
Did you see that chart that was put out last week sometime that was every NFL team's point differential by quarter put out there?
I did not see that.
So the Bucs are the best first quarter team in the NFL this season. Coming into this game, they had a point differential of plus 54 in the first quarter, right? They had negative points differentials in the second and the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter they show up again with plus 44. The Vikings were the only team ahead of them on that chart, and the Vikings haven't played yet. Ergo, Tampa Bay has the best first quarter point differential of any team in the NFL. And it was the same thing. Like, they started on fire. They drove down, methodical, opening drive touchdown. Everything looked good. They're like, okay, for some reason, maybe Liam Cohen has the best script in the NFL, but like every time they start games really well, and then it tends to unravel in the second and the third quarters, it didn't really unravel in this game at any point. They started off really well. It slowed down a bit, and then the second half, they just put their foot on the gas again and absolutely eviscerated this Chargers defense that had been the number one scoring defense in football.
It felt like it. I mean, it was 10-10 in the second. Baker throws an interception over the middle of the field. He almost threw one before the half again. Right. Some questionable decisions in there, but other than that, it was really good. I mean,
Tarheeb Steele with the interception. That guy had been balling up until that point.
Again, take those two throws away from Baker. One interception, one that was dropped at the end of the half, and unbelievable. I posted that Evans 35-yard touchdown, the one that he threw on an absolute rope. I'm not surprised by this, but let's just be surprised for a minute. Because I said this is one of the best throws of Baker Mayfield's career. How many people do you think jumped in and like, it's a pretty standard throw? Standard throw. I mean, it was with the drop back, it was a 45-yard handoff to Mike Evans, who had like a half a step of separation, and it was on a frozen rope. That was an unbelievable throw. It was one of the best throws of Baker Mayfield's career, a 45-yard handoff for a touchdown at a point that it puts the Bucs up 2 scores. Mayfield with some huge throws in this game, and Mike Evans every now and again just looks unstoppable, and this was one of those games.
Yeah, this went a long way to getting him his record, right, to clawing back some of the deficit. I could spend like an inordinate amount of time simply talking about the point differential chart, by the way. The Bucs and
the
Eagles.
Steelers the best in the third quarter? Because I saw our friend Pony talking about them being the best. He said the best third quarter team in history.
Yes, they are. Yes, which, I mean, there's a lot of, I think, quite interesting stats in this. Who the best third quarter team is not one of them. That's not where I would focus. But the Eagles and the Bucs, right? The Eagles are one of the best teams in the NFL. The Bucs are pretty good. You know what the first quarter point differential between the two teams are?
Well, the Eagles are awful.
Yeah. So in the first quarter, there's a 96-point differential between those two teams. The Bucs are the best first quarter team in the NFL.
I just don't know how.
The Eagles are one of the third or fourth worst. They're one of the worst teams in the first quarter. So the Eagles, their point differential, again, heading into this week, I haven't updated it or checked, negative 42 in the first quarter, which is catastrophically bad. Then plus 64 in the second quarter, plus 26 in the third, and plus 60 in the fourth. So the Eagles do nothing. In fact, they dig themselves a hole in the first quarter of games and then stomp on everybody for the next 3.
Just keep reading the chart. I'll just
keep
sit
reading
here.
it.
You just go through the entire chart.
The Bucs are good in the first and fourth and struggle in the middle of the games, except this game, where they were pretty good for all of it.
Which is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You got anything else on that?
The Chargers tend to be very good in the first half and not so good in the second half. So that trend.
So that was this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was close in the first half, and they got whooped in the second half. Chargers had the number 1 scoring defense coming into this game.
Not anymore.
No longer whatsoever. I mean, they got Jalen McMillan involved again. Nice little rub route for a touchdown early on. We're starting to get Liam Cohen with some head coaching buzz, and look, it's the second straight year. Baker Mayfield helped get Dave Canales a job.
Yeah.
Might help get Liam Cohen a job. Baker's supposed to be the coach killer in Cleveland, wasn't he? But now he's the coach elevator right now, this whole offense. And they're running the ball like crazy. They were over 200 again. Bucky Irving with a 50-plus yard run. Rashad White ran the ball hard but fumbled. Take away the fumble, ran the ball pretty well, but Bucky Irving continues to create big plays for the Bucs, and
that
they've
run
been
game
tough to stop.
Has been incredibly good for them. Like that, they've got 3 running backs that can all make plays. You've also got Baker Mayfield chipping in every now and again with a scramble to, whatever you want to call that, rushing yardage. Technically, not a run play, but that run game is really good for Tampa Bay. The Chargers defense, it got overmatched everywhere, really.
They did. I thought the Chargers offense in the first half looked very good with Ladd McConkey. He had a couple mishaps in the second half, drops and, plays that he should have made, I would say. He makes a difference to that offense, kind of slowed down a little bit because he was involved early, and then that slowed down. Bucs pass rush started to get to Herbert on some key plays as well. Bucs just played really timely defense, I would say.
Old man.
And they finally picked off Herbert. Herbert finally threw a pick.
He did. Old man, was that the first one since week 1?
I think so, yeah. It was the second one of the season, yeah.
Right. Old man Levante David with a couple of sacks. They sent him on the blitz quite a lot in this game, and it seemed like every time they did, he was ending the play, grabbing hold of Justin Herbert's ankles and taking him down. They got to him a few times. So you mentioned Ladd McConkey makes a big difference to this offense. I think the other player that makes a big difference to this offense is JK Dobbins, who unfortunately isn't in this offense any longer because he's hurt. But without Dobbins, they just don't have a run game at the moment. And it's a Jim Harbaugh offense, right? They want a run game more than anything else in the world. And if it's not there, okay, Justin Herbert's a very good quarterback to have to rely on, but you're still putting him in disadvantageous situations over and over and over again. And, too many of those, you're just not going to come out well from.
Yeah, the Chargers finished with just 32 rushing yards on 11 carries. So that is not the way they want to play. And I know it's tough, like when we're analyzing games here, and every team building discussion we have starts with quarterback and pass catchers and O-line, and then you eventually get to running backs in the run game. And then early in the season, you have the Chargers throwing the ball for about $150 and winning with the run game. Like, they are connected, and even though Herbert's playing much better football since about week 4 or 5 or whenever the injuries slowed down, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the best formula for winning, which is also just all relying on Herbert, especially with the inconsistent pass catchers that they have right now.
We've made this point, I think, repeatedly, that running game and running game value and running back value, it's not a constant, right? It's not a universal number applied to every team. It's different depending on what your offense is. There are offenses out there where if you change out a good running back for a nondescript running back, I don't really think it would make much of a difference. This is not one of those offenses. Like the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh with Greg Roman as their offensive coordinator, this is a team that needs a viable run game. It really does. So I think the value to the running back and the running game is greater for the Chargers than it is for some other teams. And that's just a reality of it. So JK Dobbins in a different offense might not have as much value, but in this offense, he makes a huge difference.
Yeah, he has this season when he's been out there, especially when he's early in the year when he, found a way to pick up a 40-yarder, once a game or whatever it was. Instead, that's what Bucky Irving does. Get him in the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation, man. Get him going.
You
Bucky.
Almost went Boston there. That was like a
conversation. I'm going home.
Yeah.
I'm going back to going to Dunks, jumping in the minivan, driving back east after. So I just had to. You should see me when I land. Like when I get into Boston, it's like
instant.
Yeah,
it's like a switch.
Yeah, go to Dunks, get a lodge regular. I mean, it's just perfect. It's just what you do. Comes right out.
By the way, so many of these quarter-by-quarter things explain every game that the team is in. Remember, we were like, the Washington-New Orleans game. How did that game get close? Well, because
Washington must suck in the fourth quarter.
Yes, because on a weekly basis, Washington are plus 52, plus 46, plus 11, and then negative 29 on the season. For every fourth quarter, they just let the team back in.
So if I were Dan Quinn, I would emphasize
the fourth quarter. Yeah,
finishing.
Somebody should just
show these charts. We're going to emphasize finishing this week.
Somebody should just send this chart to every NFL coach and be like, dude, pay it. Look, this is talk to them about the fourth quarter.
this practice period is called fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Because we're not good at the fourth quarter, so now we're going to practice fourth quarter.
Right.
This is called fourth quarter. This is what we're calling it right now.
Well, that at least you can focus on. It's end of game. The more difficult one, I think, to practice would be the random team that stinks in the second quarter.
We're on a great pace and cooking.
Yeah.
There was a study a few years ago that people brought up that the teams that win the most win the second and the fourth quarter.
Second and fourth. Yeah.
Do you know why?
Before the end of game.
Because there's more plays in the second and fourth quarter. Because the first quarter drives roll over into the second, and the third rolls over into the fourth. So if you win the quarters that have the most plays, it's usually the best teams that win those quarters.
Okay, I want to
write that down.
I want to give you one more before I stop talking about it, just
because we have breaking news to get to.
Again, heading into this week, the Lions in the first and fourth quarters, right, start of the game, end of the game, have a negative point differential, 6. In the second quarter alone, they are 131 to the good.
Yeah.
Plus 131 points in the second quarter. That's insane. And another 56.
That's really what the stat was the best teams win the second quarter. Yeah. And it's because the first quarter rolls over into the second, you have more plays.
The Lions are 160.
It's not a strategy.
They're 163 points. Sorry, 183 points to the good in the second and the third quarters, but they're actually negative.
We are on an incredible pace to get through a full slate of games.
Yeah.
And you could save this for the Wednesday show. We could just read the chart.
Just a fascinating chart.
I
think everyone should go check it out. Unfortunately, the source for it right now is one of those aggregator accounts that nobody wants to publicize, but still.
You don't even know if the numbers are real.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.